And we are back, this time with the dexterity run of the Demon Centipede. Sorry that it has been a while since my last update, guys, but I have been really burnt this week. I've been going to bed at like 7 every night. Really super tired. Kind of just been hanging out here because I've had a lot of family stuff going on. So you can see I'm already kind of in an online server, but let's go ahead and get this done. So going into the fight with the Demon Centipede is really similar to the strength fight. Again, you just want to run across, and again, do not panic about losing health. This fight's designed to make you panic and freak out a little bit because, I mean, it's a giant scary demon guy and you lose most of your health just getting over to where you should be fighting the boss. But he takes a while to get over here, long enough for you to be able to heal. So coming over here, just stand over and bait him. Then when he attacks, just block through it or roll away from it, I don't know. Then roll away or run away, get him to come over. Your entire goal for the beginning part of this fight is that you want to get him over onto this solid land, because he does no good for you if he's still on lava. But as you can see, most of our attacks can block, or can be blocked by our stamina. So really the main goal that you want to do with this is you want to get underneath him and attack him. And if he jumps up like that, again, you just kind of want to move away, flip out of the way. 2 flips there, as you can see, that'll do it. It'll be about the same for rolls. 2 rolls will get you away from there. But you definitely don't want to be caught underneath him when he does that, because it does a pretty decent amount of damage. By the way, just in case you can actually hear it, the music that I'm playing is completely appropriate. So do not worry about that. It's just metal remixes of video game music. Alright, you can see that attack can be blocked, but really what you want to do is you want to get right under him and be hitting that weak spot. And if you completely lose him, pick a corner away from the exact opposite of from where you were and just go move in that direction. Don't worry about that. That is just a little bit of family business going on. As you can see, we have absolutely no voice, so his attacks actually do damage to us. Now when it comes to that attack, he'll shoot down a burst of fire or magic or whatever you want to call it down there on the ground. That attack is best avoided by just backing away from him, because generally the attack will go in front of him. It's a good way for him to get you off of his face. What I recommend doing every time you get hit in this fight is definitely to pull back and heal, because as a dexterity build, you're not going to have as much armor, you're not going to have as much poise, so you're going to take damage at a higher rate, or you're going to be able to be stun locked. So what I recommend you do is whenever you get hit, just be patient about this boss fight, back away, and then heal up. As you can see there, we got hit by his... As you can see there, we actually died. Because we rolled into the lava. Haven't done that in a very long time. Alright, well, just went offline real quick. Well, this is a good opportunity to show you how to recover souls in this boss fight. It's not too difficult of a thing to do. However, it's still a bit of a problem if you don't do it correctly. Because a lot of times there's a lot of stuff going on, you can freak out because you don't have a lot of health when you get over there, and stuff like that, so it's not too bad. And this also does bring up one other point. When fighting in this boss fight, you have to be very careful of where the lava is in accordance to you. Because the lava will do, as you just saw, a lot of damage, and if you actually run into it, just heal real quick. He's pretty far away from you when he starts out. You can see our souls glowing up over there. Just come over, pick them up, and heal. And now, if they're off a little closer to the lava, you can still do the same thing. Just make sure that you heal in between the first and second lava areas, because they'll do a lot of damage to you. Alright, so again, coming over here, you kind of just want to lean forward. Or, if you don't want to take the first hit, you can kind of just come back and ignore the first one, and just start attacking you. But the general strategy for this boss fight is just blocking attacks or dodging attacks. And then just getting some hits in. Now, I do want to talk about a little bit how to dodge some of these attacks, because you may not have the luxury of having a higher stability shield or enough stamina to block through these. So let's talk about dodging some of these attacks. A lot of them involve getting behind him, because again, a lot of his attacks are directed toward the front. You can see him doing that again. Definitely recommend the Chloranthy Ring for this fight, because it'll allow you to regain more stamina, so you can flip away or roll away. Now, when it comes to his foot stomping attack, it's not that big of a deal, because by the time you get back up, it'll either be over, or his attacks will just go through your invincibility frames. Like that. I mean, we're invincible when we're on the ground like that. so his second attacks do basically nothing. You want to be careful when he does that fireball attack. When he falls down, that will damage you as well. Now you can see there, also, if you block through his attacks, when he comes back down, will knock you away somewhat. Now, this is a rather unfortuitous way for him to stand, because he's very close to the lava. But his attacks are very basic to dodge. They are, basically, it involves moving to the opposite side of the way that he's going to be going. So, for instance, you want to do that. Even though that was kind of a weird instance where we got knocked up. But again, getting behind him is a very solid strategy. Then getting underneath him. And then you can just do a lot of damage. I don't know if it's exactly a weak point of his. However, it's weak in the sense that he can't really do damage to you unless he jumps up, and then you can see when he jumps up and get away. However, we do not, so that's something that again I want to emphasize. If you see that he's coming to attack you, get to the opposite corner from where he was facing. This will minimize the chances that his attacks, which almost always go in front of him, this will minimize the chance that those attacks will actually hit you. This will also minimize the chance that those fireballs will hit you. So as you saw, it did a little bit of damage there. Now when you're trying to heal from that attack, the best strategy to do, in my opinion, is to heal immediately once you get back up, because that way, because he'll be a little bit, like, exhausted from himself actually doing the attack. And that's the Demon Centipede, or Centipede Demon. One thing that I do not recommend doing, as you saw me do there, which I shouldn't have done, is do not get greedy when it comes to this boss fight. This boss fight needs a lot of patience, especially if you're a new player. So when he's low on health like that, take it slow, and if you get hit, pull back, heal up, then go in and finish him off. Don't just get up and start swinging. You'll get killed that way and you'll just get frustrated. So without further ado, I'm going to be moving on. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make it through there without being hit once. My name is Iron Squire, and this is a Noob's Guide to Dark Souls. Continued, I want to warn you guys this is going to be a bit of a shorter episode. You've already seen how to defeat Big Hat Logan, or at least an example of defeating Big Hat Logan. But now, I want to show you the rest of what I promised, saving Siegemyer of Katarina, oops, and finishing off Dark Wraith Kirk. What do you want for this? Oh yeah, we're going to want, you. So this is going to be doing this all with a dexterity build, and again for Siegemyer. That kind of carries over. I'll just be showing you how to defeat him. Or not defeat him, it's how to save him. We'll be using arrows. Pretty effective means, if you ask me. Kirk, however, I've actually had a little bit of trouble with. This is like my 5th take of trying to do this. But I just haven't been taking it very seriously, I don't think. And I let myself get frustrated, and so once I get frustrated, I'm basically useless in Dark Souls. Really, these guys, again, are no problem, especially since I have clump up, so you can hit more than one at a time. Alright. Do that. I'm leaving it recording because I figured that if I'm going to show you guys how to make it through there without being hit and and with light armor, I figured that I just recorded this run through. It doesn't hurt to see another go through of this. Even though my original recording plan, I never planned to actually show you guys this. So one thing that I do recommend doing for fighting Dark Wraith Kirk is to kill all these enemies, because they will follow you back, and that would be no fun when fighting Dark Wraith Kirk. But I also want to warn you that I have killed the Daughter of Chaos up here. So that's a bit of a big difference. However, she's standing up here, and Dark Wraith Kirk does not spawn until you come all the way down here, so you have a fairly large battleground. Come on, Kirk, where are you? There you are. He'll spawn right at the top of these stairs, and this is his last and final encounter, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so how I recommend beating Dark Wraith Kirk. Don't try to parry him, because as you can see, or maybe it's just for me because this is a new game, he does a decent amount of damage. One thing that he'll also try to do is, remember, his armor, if he rolls into you, will actually do damage to you. So it's definitely something you want to keep in mind. And his weapons also inflict bleed. That's another thing to keep in mind. A lot of stuff to think about in this fight, but it's generally not too hard. Especially if he just rebounds off your shield like that. Then you can just kind of catch him in an infinite poise loop. And that's the last we will ever see of Dark Wraith Kirk. And yeah, I needed the humanity, actually. And what did we get? Did we get his shield? No, I already had that. You know what? We probably got his weapon. Oh, well, we'll look for it later. Or maybe that was just humanity we picked up. I don't know. You know what? Might have been humanity. It's coming down here. I've already shown you guys how to unlock saving Siegemyer with the collapsing floor, and it's already been collapsed. Because again, this is not my first take of this. However, I am glad to have killed Kirk. It's a huge weight off my shoulders because I just was not doing the job. Alright, so for saving Siegemyer, I actually bought a lot... Oh, whoops. I didn't know you guys would be coming. I actually bought a lot of poison arrows. I don't know if they'll exactly work, since I don't know if these guys can be poisoned, since they are kind of nasty in general. But I'm going to try. I'm also kind of curious as to what... Oh, no, that's the shortcut. Okay, fine. It has been collapsed. But again, if you don't want to die, just stay to the left. Come down here. And here will be how you save Siegemyer. Lol, what? Alright, fine. Maybe I didn't do something in his quest. But you're going to stand here and shoot down at these guys until they are all dead. Okay, so you can poison them. It's something good to know if you have time in your hands or you just don't simply feel like wasting arrows. But I have tons of souls all the time, and I don't mind wasting arrows. But as you can see, this is just a short bow. I don't even have 30 dexterity. I think I have like 27. But that amount of dexterity will get you saved. We'll get Siegemyer saved. One thing to do with a bow and arrow is you can if you pull it back all the way, you do actually a little more damage than instead if you just release it immediately. Taking that down. And you would come over here to the third one. And you would come to the third one, and you would kill him. And then when you come to the fourth one, what you're actually going to want to do is either not kill it or just weaken it. I recommend weakening it, especially if you're trying to save him on higher difficulties. Or higher new games, I should say. But, you definitely just want to go for the fourth one, and maybe, if you feel okay about not letting him die, and then you would talk to Siegemyer. We've already talked about his dialogue. And then when you talk to Siegemyer, which I don't know where he is. What's his quest before this? Giving him moss? Something like that. I'll have to look at it. But yes, you would talk to him. There's only one left, so you come down here, kill it, and then there's obviously the one around the corner over there. Alright, so I'm going to go investigate real quick, and I'll see you guys then. This boss fight that we are about to be attempting is easily the most disliked boss fight in the entirety of Dark Souls. It is so bad, in fact, that the Dark Souls producers, FromSoft, have actually apologized for it. And that is one way that I know that I am justified in not liking this boss fight. It is either poorly designed, or just it was a great idea, but the implementation of it just fell flat on its face. So the first thing you're going to notice when you come into here is that there's a ramp. First, what I want you to do is completely ignore that, and I want you to have a few things straight. I want you to have as many Estus Flasks as you can. If you got injured along the way, don't worry, it's not that big of a deal. Next, I want you to have Homer Bones equipped. Do not worry, this will become evident later. And I want you to have as much humanity equipped as possible. Being fully healed in such a situation is very nice, especially since you can be injured on the way here. And the rings that I'm going to be using are the Chloranthy ring for increased stamina regen and the Wolf ring, so we have more poise. So to start the boss fight, just slide on down. This, my friends, is the Bed of Chaos. Easily the worst boss fight in Dark Souls. This is the worst fight in Dark Souls for several reasons. One, it is rather difficult, but it's not difficult in the way that I like Dark Souls difficult. It's not difficult in the sense that, well, there's a very specific timing for when you have to go in. There is a timing that'll come up later on. However, it still doesn't work very well in my opinion. Also, real quick, we do not have, I don't believe this character has the dexterity for it. One thing that you can also do is equip a bow and arrow. That would be exceptionally useful for this fight. However, we have no arrows, and we do not have the dexterity to wield a bow. So we'll be doing this on foot. So coming up to this boss fight, you want to be very careful, because in this area there are going to be parts of the floor that completely collapse on you. This is influenced by several different factors, one of which is how far along the boss fight is, and second of which is where you are in the battlefield. I recommend either going right or left. Actually, the left is the better of the two locations to go first, but your goal is to get to the center of this area. You can destroy as many roots as you want, and you see that glowing area right there, that glowing root? You want to hit that. That's your goal for this boss fight. Now at this point, even though it's a very long run back, I recommend actually using a homeward bone to get out of here. Now you may think, well, isn't that going to reset the boss fight? In this boss fight, how much damage you've done to the boss does not reset if you exit the area. One thing you can also do to exit that boss fight quickly is to quit out of the game, because that will kick you out of the boss fight, but you'll still be right in front of the boss fight door. So I'll meet you guys back. One thing that I actually recommend doing for this boss fight is running past all these enemies here, because once you enter the boss fog, these enemies will basically be null and void. Just don't have your shift key for run freak out on you and make you stop running. Instead, just skid past them, try not to get hit, so you can conserve as many Estus flasks as possible. This is especially useful if you're running heavy armor, because that way, usually running heavy armor, your point is that you can take more hits instead of dodging the hits. So instead, as long as you kill the Daughter of Chaos, and if you're human, the Kirk, you can just come right up here, come into the boss fight, and you're safe. So once again, you re-equip everything, and we go about it. Now, this boss fight's going to work the exact same way as last time, or at least this part of it is. Once we get down there, we have to get to the left side this time. However, obviously that giant flaming arm, as you saw, is going to be there, which is going to be a problem. And now I believe the floors will collapse on us when we get close to them, or if we're standing on top of them, obviously. But as you can see, we've done no damage to the Bed of Chaos, which is fine. That's unfortunately how this boss fight works. Now, a safe haven. This area right here will always be safe for you. Even if ground collapses, even if you're being attacked, there's an example of ground collapsing. This area right here, the second indent like this, is completely safe. Now, as you just saw there, occasionally Daughter of Chaos will spit out fireballs. You can tell when she's going to do it when she does that. This is actually a very good time to move in for us. Oh yeah, and by the way, this area is almost always safe as well. Now when I say safe, I'm meaning safe from regular attacks, not the fireballs, because the fireballs will go anywhere. But as you can see, one of the best ways to go about this boss fight is, unfortunately, to kind of just cheese it. And I hate to say that about a Dark Souls boss fight, but it's the best way to go about this, because if you just walk around the edges, the floor will collapse. Oh, and by the way, each time you exit and re-enter, the boss fight will, or the floor will reset. Alright, actually, well, this is probably not going to work, but I actually kind of want to try something. Actually, no, let's go. Let's put on the Zui. I actually want to try jumping that gap. Because if we can... Okay, we could. That's okay. We'll just make the run back, even though I had wanted to quit out this time. Well, alright, I have an idea. We're going to go up to the front next time. I'll see you guys then. Alright, let us try this again. We're heading on down to the Bed of Chaos. There we go. A little bit more sound. I kind of just want to see what will happen if we go forward. I'm pretty sure we're just gonna get hit, which would be a good... Why did it not start recording? What the heck? Okay, well, my recording software started recording and then stopped recording. Well, this is what happens when you hit it the second time. I'm gonna quit out of the game real quick and then show you guys exactly what I just did, because it worked very effectively. It's a cool looking boss fight. I'll give the game makers that. But I promised you that my recording software started and then stopped working. That was really weird. I will have to edit that in later. Actually, you know what I'll do right now? I'll meet you guys back in there. And as you can see, by quitting out, you start out right back at the boss fight. So I'm going to show you guys what just occurred. My recording software kind of clipped out there, so I do apologize. But what our goal is going to be is we're going to stay very close to the bed of chaos. Now this is going to be exceptionally difficult for us because part of the ground is now going to fall away, since we have already hit the second node. However, if the second node has not been hit yet, and you're going for it, do not worry about it, for the ground will not collapse where you will see it collapse for us. By the way, that fire will not hit you, that comes up behind you. I believe it's just to kind of freak you out. One thing that I wanted to talk about here is, I wanted to talk to you guys about how to go up front here and to be able to block these attacks. Generally what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come up and do almost the basic thing of block, lower your shield to recover stamina, and then block again. It's kind of the basic rhetoric that we've gone over since the beginning of this entire game. But one thing that I want to encourage to you about this specific boss fight is don't be intimidated by it. If you get attacked, which you will be, as you can see there, we even died, which we're gonna die so much coming up. However, what I do want to tell you is that in this boss fight, which is exceptionally annoying, what you need to do is have a little bit of patience, which I know, hard to do, but come on, there we go. But at the same time, you need to not be intimidated by the boss, because it's very easy to kind of look at it and be scared and not want to move forward. But in order to defeat this boss, you're going to have to move forward. So the best way to take on this boss fight is through a lot of experimentation with how to position yourself to take on the boss and how to avoid certain attacks. But I promise that what you just saw is actually a lot harder because it's the third stage of the three stages of the boss fight. So, with that out of the way, I just want to again reiterate, be very patient and always be careful where the floor is going to collapse. Now, if you've seen the floor collapse before, excuse me, it will always collapse in that place again, so be very wary of that. I'll meet you guys back at the Bed of Chaos boss fight, where we shall begin part 3. I have done several takes of this boss fight, and it's very, very annoying. It's as annoying as I remember it to be. So, I'm just going to try to get through this, do the best that I can, and just get it done today. I apologize it's been so long, but let's do this. Now, I do want to start off by saying what I missed last time. How to destroy the second little bulb over there. It's a little bit more tricky than the first one, but it's still quite simple. What you're basically going to want to do is come up and follow over to the left. And if you get hit, just recognize that you get hit and move on. Over there, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to encounter several times you're going to be hit and there's going to be a ledge very close to you. What I want you to do in those kind of situations are to turn and face the opposite direction of where the hands or branches or whatever are facing you, so that way you get knocked away from the ledge. And I want you to also stay calm and continue to block, and then if you take damage, heal, then move on. You have to be very slow with doing some of these areas of this boss fight, and I very much recommend going very slowly and very patiently here, because dying means a whole run back. However, again, right when you destroy one of the bulbs, just quit out of the game and then you'll be right back out there. But now let's talk about the third and final stage of this boss fight. Coming up, you'll obviously see that we're now going to be taking damage from these guys. And you can see that it's quite annoying. However, I want you to be very careful as you approach this, because as you come up, you can see the floor will collapse, and you can see we're also just going to get hit. Now, we have to get in there, but you can see that it's very difficult with getting hit all the time. There is a small strategy to it. I find that it can be up to luck a lot. One thing to do when you're getting hit is wait until after the branches go by, and then heal in between the time when she's going to attack with fire. Sorry for stuttering there. And then what you want to do is run and jump, but not like that. Now let us try this without I just lost the word. Let's try this without moving to the left. As you can see, when you come here, and you've already made that part of the floor collapse, it will already be collapsed again. So your goal is to run and jump on that route. Now, I've learned a few things since our last attempt, just kind of thinking about them. It kind of bends a little bit, but this is what you're going to want to do. And I don't really have time to explain when this actually all occurs, since this is going to happen really, really fast. But what's going to happen is we're going to either land on the route or die. Let's assume, however, we land on the route, just for the sake of argument. So we land on the route. What you want to do is stay exactly still. Bed of Chaos is going to just flail and attack and try to hit you right off the ledge, or right off the route, whatever. So stay there and don't move at all. High five yourself, you made it. And then you're going to want to start running toward those series of branches and roots over there, and you're going to want to break them as quickly as possible. She will hit you while you're there, so break them as quickly as possible. Now, if this try doesn't work, what I'm going to end up doing is, I probably should not have healed there, is I'm just going to cut ahead until I can actually make it, and then I'll rejoin you guys. So, best way to go about this is you have to get close. So obviously you want to go through the roots, wait, then once the attack is done, of course we get hit. Alright, well, I'll meet you guys when I actually manage to do it.